Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. We have Novak Djokovic versus Lorenzo Musetti for the round of 16 Miami Open Masters matchup. Let's get into it. Before we do though, remember to hit that like button, do subscribe if you're new, and do leave a rating or review if you're listening on a podcast platform. Also click that notification bell if you have not done so already on YouTube. Okay, this head-to-head is very one-sided at the moment, 7-1 in favor of Djokovic. So you guys might be thinking, Faizan, why are you covering this match? Because generally speaking, when it comes to match previews, we tend to really only predict matches that are going to be tight, or ones that I think are going to be quite close. This, on paper, is not one of them. However, I think it will be a close match, and I'll explain why. Before I do that, I want to very briefly talk about both players. So, Novak has had a pretty, I would say, disappointing year so far. I think the biggest highlight being Alcaraz at the Australian Open beat him in very impressive fashion, but he just hasn't really shown any further glimpses of the greatness that we know he has. The coaching link up with Murray has shown some benefit, and it looks like it's working well from both coach and player perspective, but we haven't seen the real tangible results apart from that Australian Open run this year so far anyway. Miami has shown some very positive results so far. No sets dropped. He's looked very comfortable. The level has looked good. He goes into this match, I think, confident. Playing against someone who's beaten 7 times, only lost to once. He will be confident that he can come into this match and get it done pretty comfortably. For Musetti's had to battle Quinton Halys, Felix Auger-Aliassime, 2 3-set wins against 2 players who are in pretty good form, it's fair to say. Halys won an ATP tournament recently. Felix Auger-Aliassime has also been in pretty good form this year, especially on outdoor hardcourt. So, he will also be feeling pretty positive about his level going into this match. He is the underdog, Musetti, no doubt. But what might be quite an important factor in this matchup is the conditions. The courts we know are going to be quick. Not as quick as the Australian Open, but medium fast on the CPI index, whatever it's called, for court pace. And that's fine. That actually favours Novak. I think Musetti would prefer Indian Wells-like conditions, heavier balls, or heavier conditions where he can hit a heavy ball with high topspin, higher bouncing, slower conditions. But where his game comes into its own in these Miami conditions is not just the courts, it's also to do with the weather. Now in Miami, it's very hot at the moment. That's fine. What I'm interested in is the wind. Now, if you go and watch Lorenzo Musetti versus Taylor Fritz at Wimbledon for 2024, you will see Musetti mount a comeback against Taylor Fritz. And a lot of that was down to the fact that he adapted well to windy conditions on the day. He started shaping the ball with the lobs and slices and very awkward shots that dragged Fritz out of position, made him feel uncomfortable, and then he took control of the match. Novak, generally speaking, is great in all conditions, on all surfaces. But I would say, in my opinion, in my humble opinion, that actually in windy conditions, I don't think his game is quite as good as it normally is. Now, that's not to say he's not going to play a really good level. But I do think it gives Musetti a little bit of an edge if the conditions are windy, if they are a little bit blustery, because I think he actually handles those conditions very well. And he could make it awkward for Novak. The slice from Musetti is going to be really important on these quicker surfaces, and the one-handed backhand as well, to go live pretty early. He's going to have to be very clinical with that shot, because if he's not, we know Novak has a fantastic angled forehand cross. He's not going to hit a lot of aces, Musetti, but his serve +1 play needs to be impeccable, I think, against Novak. And that can be difficult when Novak's suffocating you with deep returns. And then when it comes to serve, well, Novak's been serving quite well in this tournament, and that's going to be a real problem. Musetti's going to have to return well, make a lot of balls, try and force Novak to hit bigger than he'd like, and try and enforce some errors in the Serbs game. Novak is not going to want to go super physical in for a long period of time in this match. That's just not the way he's built right now at this stage of his career. He can go into that mode, into that lockdown mode, but that is a last resort. His default at the moment is to try and shorten the points. And that means being aggressive with the forehand, serving well, coming forward when needed as well than that. Musetti needs to be extremely proactive in this match, and if the weather can be taken advantage of, he should. Make it awkward for Novak with high topspin lobs. Make the ball get caught in the wind. Make it awkward. Make Novak play out of his comfort zone. Make him feel like he is not able to get rhythm. And that's probably the best chance that Musetti has in this match. He's not going to hit Novak off the court. He's not going to have better shot tolerance than Novak, most likely. The best way for him to beat Novak is to execute his variety to a T and use the conditions to his advantage. Really play into those conditions. Now, if it's not windy, he's going to have to redline, is Musetti. He's going to have a big serving day, a big returning day, play really aggressively from the baseline of the forehand and backhand, and hope to hell that Novak is not playing near his top level. Tactically, for Musetti, the variety is very key, of course. He needs to lean into that, and it's going to be interesting to see how he employs it against Novak, because he knows that he has to be on point with the execution. Prediction-wise, I'm going to go with... if it's going to be windy, I could actually see Musetti winning. But I think the head-to-head is just too one-sided. So I think I'm going to have to be a little bit boring, and I'm going to go with Djokovic in straight sets. And that's with the assumption that the conditions will not be too blustery. Let me know in the comment section below what you think and why. Thanks very much, guys. Stay safe and well. See you in the next video.